It's 5 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to Island Tea. We are Island Tea. It's Tuesday, July 25th.
Have you forgotten the date,
23.
Jamster?
No, July 25th.
No, that is Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
I saw you ponder a moment.
What did I say? Did I say Wednesday?
No, you didn't.
What did I say?
But you paused. You
No,
paused like
because
you
I was
forgot.
looking. Because I was looking
Oh,
at
you were
the
looking
date.
at-
Yeah, the date is on there.
Oh.
So
Good
there was
morning.
there was no
Making sure.
issue. There was no issue there. The
Okay,
date is
I'm
right
making
there.
sure. I'm
I was
making
just
sure that
looking
you-
to make sure I had it right.
Y'all
Yeah,
start
yeah.
right out
July-
the gates.
I know,
huh?
right?
Wow.
Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
making sure he's on the ball this
Good morning,
morning.
gentlemen. Wow. Early
Yes.
start.
So good morning to everybody. I
morning.
want to start off this morning with an inspirational quote. And it's probably something that you've heard before, but it's good to be reminded at certain times of certain things, you know. And it says, and I quote, "Success is a journey, not a destination." End of quote. Quote again. "Success is a journey, not a destination." End of quote. And it says from Ben Sweetland.
Success is a journey, not a destination.
And I think that's telling because oftentimes we think about getting to our destination. There are certain goals that we want to accomplish. And so in accomplishing that goal, we forget about the journey that is that we have to take to get there. And sometimes we have so many small or maybe even large accomplishments in getting to that final destination that you want to reach to. So if your goal perhaps is to become, let's say, a lawyer, that is the goal, to become a lawyer. And along the way, you have to, maybe you don't have the finances. And so you have acquired a student loan. That is a small success. Even though you'll be in debt, you now acquire some sort of financing to accomplish that dream. Then you get into the program, the school. That again is an accomplishment.
Boy, I feel like this TED Talk is for me.
And then afterwards, you then in the school and you successfully pass. Now you're going and making your way into the law school and you're there. And so each step, even though you are thinking, I want to become a lawyer, and this could be applied in so many different ways, you have made it so far already, and each time that you have taken a step further to that destination, you have succeeded in doing something. And so we ought to enjoy the journey. You understand? Not just think about the destination. And sometimes I say that to myself as well in certain things that I want to accomplish. I say, enjoy the process. Enjoy the journey. Because when you get to that destination, it could be 5 years from now. It could be 10 years from now. If you don't enjoy it along the way, you have missed out so much in life. Thinking to get to that one place. And perhaps when you get there and you have succeeded, maybe you may realize that it's not all that you thought it would be, and getting there would have been the joy.
Mm-hmm.
Think about, thinking about working out in gym and having your ideal body. And, you reach there, but then it's the small successes, losing that weight, seeing the growth, or your gains, as you like to speak.
Increasing the amount you can press, right?
Exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it is
AZ Chopra.
Yes. It is all about enjoying that step to your
Honestly,
destination.
I absolutely love your analogy, and I feel like this TED Talk was for me, right?
We did a little TED Talk
Because
this morning.
this is where you end and say, thank you for coming to my TED Talk,
Thank
right?
you for coming to my short TED Talk. And you can get me on Island Tea from 8 to 10, Win FM,
Weekdays.
I wish I could
from
make
Monday to Friday.
I wish I could make that TED Talk sound effect, that pling
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
We could do that with
But
my mouth.
honestly,
but
I
can't.
absolutely love the quote, and I love your analogy, because I honestly feel like it's me you just described. But thank you for that, and I hope our listening audience was able to pull something from that.
Yes.
So guys, thank you for joining in, and stay tuned. What do you guys think about the weather? I am
The
so
weather
happy it's
is
raining.
so cool. I am loving the rain.
I've never been more happy to get rain.
Yeah, it's just a cool morning. And last night it started raining. You
Yes, I
realize?
was like, yes.
After
Yeah.
one?
It was
no.
it wasn't that
It was
late.
earlier than
It was
that.
a little bit after 11, I think.
Yeah, I think after 11.
Yeah, because I actually got up just to check my windows just one more time
Mm.
because I'm paranoid like that.
I actually had to close mine because facing the east. So
Oh.
My
and
sister,
the rain was coming.
she is paranoid. She closes those windows since about 6 o'clock. I'll be like, oh God, you can kill us in here.
So I'm sure.
But I still, get up to check whenever rain
I'm sure when I
comes
go home, my daughter will have probably forgotten.
to open them.
So she might be there and be like, "House seems hot," but it might not occur
Not
to her to
thinking
check.
that let me open the windows. But
Yeah.
it's gonna keep raining according to the weather
Oh, this
forecast.
is good. This is good.
Yeah, it's gonna be
This is
windy, but rainy conditions expected around 11.
Oh, wow.
So
You know,
I'm
some-
seeing rain 11, 12, 1.
For us, so those of us
Imagine
who
a
enjoy,
scenario where we're saying hallelujah for rain.
I know, my poor plants in the yard.
for those of us who enjoy sleeping while it's raining, it is going to be such a beautiful evening. I was up and then as soon as I heard the rain, I was like, yeah, it's time to go sleep.
Mm-hmm.
That's my key.
I love to sleep when it
other
starts raining.
things, other things in the bed, Bed's not
Sleep.
just for sleeping,
I'm with Azard. Sleep or watch TV.
TV, yeah.
Yeah, you could watch
Read a
TV.
book.
You could read a book.
Read a book.
Yeah, I was actually watching
And
this.
some other unmentionables. But
Good
anyway.
grief.
But with all those unmentionables, none of us would be here.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
But the rest of us went to sleep. Azard and I.
Yeah. We know what Jams has been thinking about the rain.
I know. I was thinking like, thank
He's thinking
heavens, my
about jamming in the
plants,
rain.
right? Because I have plants outside, and I saw them just yesterday afternoon. I was like, gosh, I really been neglecting these. But then I feel so guilty getting my car washed and watering the plants because we're struggling for water. Like even like a friend of mine was kind of giving me like the bombastic side eyes, right? Because like when Caribbean Airlines came in, they did the little water show to welcome them.
Yeah.
I was like, man, we got to find smoke or confetti or something. We need that water because when I get home tonight, we're not going to have any water.
Yeah,
You know what we could do? We could probably have some catchment center. So you use the water,
Yeah,
you
just
get
catch
it
it and
back.
back. Yeah.
that reminds me. That
I'm
reminds
doing
me
this
when
water show.
I was doing thought experiments about some of the things that. Remember we were talking about.
Yes.
Let's say if you did a gym and you had a pool,
Right.
and it was. Remember I
Not
was doing.
Jams are giving away my idea.
No, well, no,
I'm joking,
no,
I'm
no.
joking.
I know. But I mean, I was doing a thought experiment, thinking about all the things you have to think differently about that you use water for.
Yes.
That you have to think differently
Precisely.
now in
Yep.
this in this time.
Yeah, we're in a
because,
drought.
Yes.
Yeah, so I see what you mean. The two.
Yeah, when I saw the
two
water
fire
show,
trucks,
I was
you're
like,
man.
how are we still doing this, man?
Yeah.
Oh yes, but
Then when I get home, I'm not going to have any
I'm
water.
sorry. That is one time I think tradition is stupid because
Like, I am
and
literally-
impractical. Okay, let me be polite.
Well,
Impractical.
we could use other
And-
things. We could shoot
yeah.
out confetti like we do.
Yeah. Well, actually, that might not be a good idea for the
Maybe for
engines.
the
For the
plane.
engines, yeah.
Find something else, not
Yeah.
water.
I
We're
agree.
struggling.
No, I agree.
Because
I
I literally have not been working
agree.
late
agree.
because I have to rush home because I don't want to do the whole dip and bathe thing. I want to actually have a shower. So, yeah. Can we reconsider that?
But guys, as we think about that, we have another airline. We have Caribbean Airlines added to the list of airlines that we can use to leave St. Kitts and Nevis and travel.
You make St. Kitts
outside.
sound like a prison.
No, but
I
that's
know,
what
I'm
we're
just
talking about. We're
joking,
talking
I'm
about the
just
welcome.
I know,
the
he's
inaugural
just
flight for
joking.
Caribbean Airlines when they came in, the welcome that they did.
Yeah, I
But
know.
I saw that there's quite a roster. I actually saw the AG post like the schedule,
Yes.
and I didn't even know we had that many airlines coming into St. Kitts. I saw one called Rouge or something like that.
Is it French? Like
No.
oh,
Well, I have no clue.
Mhm.
Let me see if I can find a screenshot because I actually pulled it off of his page because I was like so impressed. I was like, well, when we start getting all these airlines into St. Kitts.
Yes.
So Delta is back. There's American, there's British, there's Delta, there's JetBlue, Seabourn, Rouge, United, and then of course you have all the other Caribbean ones.
what's the low cost one from Canada called again? I always get mixed up. I know Ryanair is Ireland. What's the
Yeah.
one from Canada? I can't remember.
From Canada?
I can't
Yeah.
remember
Not
either.
Air Canada? No?
No, the low cost. They have a low
Oh,
cost airline.
I have no clue.
I was thinking
Name
Air
escapes
Canada
me.
until he said low cost, and I was like,
Yeah.
probably he
Because
wouldn't think
JetBlue
that.
is one of the
Mhm.
low cost ones from the US.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I was just impressed. I was like,
Yeah.
we getting on.
Mhm. So guys,
Yeah, we have quite a number of airlines
those
coming
students who are traveling to, I guess, Jamaica or maybe Trinidad, for
But-
school.
But you do realize the problem. I mean, as as long as Caribbean Airlines takes up the slack, but you do realize there's still a big problem with the regional.
There is, and I was having this conversation with a bunch of persons just Sunday. We were just basically discussing the lack of flights, because Liat is still going through its I can't even say teething because it's pretty old. It's drama. And then Inter-Caribbean Airlines came on the scene.
Want me to give you a description?
I'm scared.
Denialist death throes.
Wow.
They need to die, but they don't want to accept it. I'm sorry, they need to die.
You just pulled that out of thin air just like that?
Yeah, I did. Actually, yeah.
Good grief, good one. But we were just discussing just the pains it is to get from, let's say, from St. Kitts to even Barbados. Like, let's say you were going for a visa appointment, or St. Kitts to Guyana. It's just a pain in the neck. So we were happy to see Caribbean Airlines and Inter-Caribbean. So at least it gives you a little bit more options. Right?
I wish we had Caribbean Airlines.
Even to
I
get
was
to
going back
Jamaica.
school.
To get to Jamaica was a headache,
Oh,
because
so
you got to leave here, go to Miami. From Miami, you go to Jamaica, or you can do St. Martin.
Yeah, I used to go.
But still not a direct flight.
I just
either
realized
to St. Martin or Antigua.
Yeah.
During my time when I had to go to Jamaica.
I just realized sometimes I get confused because when you said Caribbean Airlines, I was thinking about Inter-Caribbean when I said, Caribbean Airlines is,
No.
So
Someone said-
Caribbean Airlines has started, right? With the small
Yeah.
planes?
Yeah. They
Yeah,
definitely started.
That's good.
They had the thing yesterday. That's what we talked
Oh, that's
The
Caribbean
water thing.
See,
That's
I
the
was
water
thinking
thing I was
about
talking about.
See, that's the thing I was thinking
So
about.
someone on
Inter-Caribbean.
the Facebook page just said, let's hope that the ticket prices go down. They are still expensive to fly to St. Kitts and Nevis.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what
But
someone
sure.
said.
Yeah, I
Surely
think
it
the
probably is a
more
little less now,
airlines
though,
we
right?
get in, the competition
Yeah.
will cause them to have to drop their prices.
Yeah.
So, well, that's my hope. At
My,
least.
my
Although-
other
'Cause you're no longer a monopoly.
consideration, my other consideration is that with these increase in flights, let's hope that we have the traffic so that persons can actually utilize. Because I think if we don't have the traffic at the end of the year, government would have to, supplement the quota.
I think we
for
do
these.
though,
So
because
let's
like
just
right
hope that
now
we
it's
have the traffic.
it's carnival in Antigua, Grenada had their thing, St. Lucia had their thing,
St.
and
Vincent.
St. Vincent, and then there's CPL, so people are gonna want to be moving around for CPL. So for at least for the summer and maybe into the start of tourism season, which is like October, the traffic should be there.
Yeah, looking forward to the traffic.
And then maybe people going off to school or going back to school.
Yeah.
for
Miami
sure.
Carnival.
We really would have to market, and I think market St. Kitts and Nevis and the Caribbean as a destination, and CPL, cricket played louder. Jamster, you should think about getting a ticket to go this year.
I'm pretty sure I should be able to swing that at least
one?
and
Where
go
we
check it
going?
out.
The CPL, the
although-
CPL that he has never been. to.
Although I've been mostly lost, but I don't know
Let me
anything.
swallow
about-
that comment.
Huh?
Let me swallow that comment. How you mean? Where's Trent? Is Trent hearing you?
No, yeah, he
Not
probably.
you not
And-
knowing about cricket and being lost. Trent, come and get
Yeah.
Jamster.
And he and Trent are good friends.
I am so ashamed.
I'm sure Trent has spoken about cricket to Jamster before.
wonder if Richard is listening.
Yeah.
We
No, I
need to
mean,
give
I
you a crash
always,
course.
I'm kind of interested, but I find the rules really arcane, and
Just
Don't start on
Seems like-
cricket because you know.
Jamster is like doing a whole analysis of the game.
Just because he can't appreciate it. Hey, don't let me call my cricket people to drag you,
I find some of the rules archaic.
no, say
How
arcane.
you know the
Oh,
rule?
arcane.
How do you know? You don't even
Not
watch
archaic, I
cricket.
said arcane.
Oh, okay.
I mean, like when you hear those positions on the field, I'm like, oh, what? It seems like hair splitting to me, like off
Look at you about to get called from the Cricket
silly
Association.
mid on, and I'm like,
remember,
what?
we have an honorary member of the cricket executive here.
Don't play with my position.
But guys, as we
In
talk,
more serious
yeah,
notes.
there's some
Ugh.
notes. Well, there have been much discussion about the CBI programs and the banning, or let's say the visa restrictions that have been applied. Or, there's so many banters. We already have the restriction on travel to the UK, via visa, from persons coming out of Dominica and Dominicans. So, well, Dominicans, not persons coming out of Dominica, but Dominicans.
There's been quite a bit in the news, actually. Even the PM says he's going to go back to the EU to discuss our CBI program. We saw Scarrett of Dominica making a statement, saying, basically, yeah, we lost it, but it's not the end of the world. Let's keep hope. And then Ralph Gonzalez made a statement. So it's been a bit of a hot topic. And I know you sent us something just last night, but I think Ralph's clip is short. I don't know if you want to play.
Can we play Ralph's clip so the persons could hear?
Okay.
Thank you to the
Our
person
flight
who
is
sent
getting
it.
ready to leave, but before we go, same Friday, we were, I think we were waiting our flight when we got the news that the British government basically smashed, they brought down the hammer on the CBI program in Dominica. They said, look, from now on, Dominicans, anybody with a Dominican passport that's coming to Britain will have to have a visa.
From August.
That's from August. And they said
But the rest,
Dominica is not going to be
the
the
only
only
one.
one. Between now and the end of this year, we're axing everybody, basically everybody in the region.
St. Lucia, Grenada, Antigua, Barbuda, St. Kitts, Nevis.
Everybody who does CGI,
Selling the passport and selling citizenship.
Yeah. Now this is something that you have long predicted.
Look, those who didn't see it and who wanted to base an economic strategy on that, like the opposition in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they now get their comeuppance. You see how mature judgment brought to bear. When I say this thing is not sustainable, you can't base your economic development on this. You can't finance your budget on these kinds of monies. Apart from the principle which I've always stated and the practicality, purely, if even those who could have been satisfied, which they are not in my view, because the highest office in the land is that of citizen, not for sale. The passport is the outward sign of the inward grace of citizenship, not for sale. The question of people telling me that you can check to see who these individuals are and so on, and you don't have the machinery to do it. And the volume you have to do to make money off of it, you're going to run into difficulties. And this thing was just a matter of time. It's not only the European, not only the British. The European Union Commission had a meeting with those same governments.
Within the OECS.
Within the OECS. And they have told them, look, we have come to tell you that's not a matter of if, not a matter of this thing may happen. This thing is happening. It's when we are going to bring down the hammer, and the hammer is coming down shortly.
It's been quite a news article. I saw posts by, some persons may criticize St. Kitts Nevis Times, but I saw postings from St. Kitts Nevis Times indicating that, that we could be on the list next.
But I think that's basically
From
what
articles,
everyone has been saying.
From articles, what they would
And that's what
have
Ralph
seen,
just mentioned. But for me, I know Ralph has always been against CBI. He was basically preferring to push the cannabis industry in St. Vincent over CBI. And so I kind of took a little bit of a when he said you're getting your comeuppance. It's almost like, I didn't tell y'all it wasn't going to work. Y'all walk out y'all mats now. Who can't hear, gonna feel, that type of thing. But, and so I'm kind of, I understand where he's coming from, because a lot of countries would have based all their baskets in one, all their eggs in one basket when it comes to CBI. Because let's face it, that was our main source of income. It still is our main source of income in St. Kitts. But I kind of took a little bit of offense when he says comeuppance, right? And there is speculation that ours is going to, eventually be removed.
Well, he did.
And
he did
they
say
keep
St.
they
Kitts
keep
Nevis, so
saying, yeah, but that's
chances are.
just him, right? But I saw a couple articles that actually said that St. Kitts Nevis, but I couldn't verify the source because I've, like, for instance, the one that I saw initially, it was something called about Words for something, and I've never heard of that company before. So it's safe to assume that if they're gonna start with Dominica, they're just gonna come down the line.
Well, it's interesting because we had a roundtable discussion where PM Drew was saying that due to steps and changes that was implemented with the CBI program, persons were criticizing him and his administration at one point in time, saying that these are a lot of restrictions, but he was saying that it has saved St. Kitts and Nevis. But now to hear that it's just a matter of time,
I just think there's a lot of
there seems
conflicting
to be
information.
a contradiction. So what is it? Is it that fixing the program would save St. Kitts and Nevis from being...
For how long? Because just this year, the countries met with the U.S. and they put 6 guidelines, 6 rules in place for them to be governed by for countries that are doing CBI. So I guess in that arena, at least they felt, well, okay, kind of gotten Finston off our back to an extent, we're fine. But now the UK comes up with this. But I want people to also note that it's just not Dominica that lost theirs. It was East Timor, it was Vanuatu, it was, I forget the other country, but it was a list of countries that actually lost the visa free waiver the same day that Dominica got theirs axed. But of course, we're more concerned with Dominica because it's our neighbor. But I think people don't, for those who are not necessarily in the industry, it's not just security. This has always been an issue with the bigger countries. Mind you, they do citizenship by investment from time immemorial, right? The UK has a program, the US has their EB5 program, Canada has a program. Almost every country has something whereby you can obtain citizenship by making an investment into the country.
Yeah.
I think the problem is that these smaller countries are now competing in the same playing field as the bigger countries.
that could be an issue.
Yes, security is also an issue, but I think it's more than security.
Okay, when you raise that point, it makes me think about the situation. Let's say you're under your countries, and you're the country that everyone wants to go to, but you have more stipulations. So you could come to me, you get your access, because then by coming to me and getting your passport, you get to go around some of the hurdles going to Candy directly, but you still go to Candy. So I guess it's that situation that now Candy is saying, well, if it is that they are cutting it and they're now producing more, Azard is now getting more because, of this, let's cut, the pathway to me, and so you go directly to you.
Exactly.
So that is a
But
situation
also,
to be considered.
you notice he alluded to, I think, a big part of the problem. Whereas let's forget the fact that they think that it's their God-given right to sell citizenship with impunity, and they don't think that we should be allowed that privilege. But then the other thing is, they have the infrastructure to do the due diligence, because they've been doing this thing for centuries. I mean, come on, these were the slavers and the colonizers. We're just starting off as countries. We have small populations. We don't have the resources, the experience, and the expertise to conduct the kind of due diligence they can. I mean, these people, they have access to...
Where have the terrorists attacked or come from? Where have the terrorists
Yeah,
attacked
exactly.
or come from?
But I mean, I was just saying...
I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah,
It's not
exactly.
any of our small
exactly,
countries.
exactly.
But hey.
But they have the we don't, and I know they're pouncing on this with relish to jam us,
But
sad to say.
The funny thing
because-
is, I don't agree with they have the machinery and equipment and capabilities and we don't, because
No, meaning, remember, they own
due diligence
the financial architecture.
But wait, no,
that
I'm
a lot
referring
of
to
the-
due diligence and
yeah,
background checks. Do you know where we conduct our due diligence and background checks?
I don't, but...
Not here.
I know.
to those same countries.
I know, but
Interpol and FBI and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones that conduct it. So it's basically
Yes,
saying
but
that, we tell you that this person
you truly think that it's due diligence, even if we were subcontracting this stuff to maybe some of these people, you really think that it's a level playing field?
I think that
Excuse me.
I would like to think that if they're the ones conducting the due diligence and they come back and they tell me, yeah, Azard is cool, he's not a terrorist, he don't deal in counterfeit, blah, 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 whatever, and I say, okay, and then I grant Azard citizenship, how is it now you're coming back to tell me I'm not sure about your security, not because I tell you Azard is clean? Like, what are you saying? You're the one doing the security and approving Azard. How is Azard not okay now?
And then there's also the question of maybe direct misfeasance on our part, where some people may have just gotten passports because maybe you struck up a good relationship, you met a few people, and you're like, okay, he seems like a cool guy. Let me expedite his passport, and then that person turns out to be problematic. Right? I could see that
can't
happening.
necessarily jump on that
I could see that
bandwagon.
happening.
I feel like a lot of persons
And then there's the
don't
greed.
quite
Then there's
understand.
the greed aspect as well.
Well, that part will never stop,
Yes.
and then nobody can control that because that's more morals. But I think one of the
like I said,
one of the major issues is security for sure,
people
because you just never know what you're gonna get. Because look at some of the persons that have turned out to be terrorists. I mean, the most recent person, and I was so amazed when I saw it happening.
We have a call. You guys want to take the call?
Sure.
Let's see what this caller has to say. Island T, you're on.
Good morning, guys.
Hi,
Good
good morning.
Youngster,
Hey.
you just made a statement where you said they think it's their God-given right. Youngster, is that the only thing they think is their God-given right?
Absolutely not. That's just one.
Okay. What gave them that right? And it's not God. God didn't give them that right unless they themselves are the gods.
Well,
you see?
they certainly don't. Most of them certainly don't think God exists. So I mean,
Exactly, Jamster.
you can
Exactly,
extrapolate
man.
from
Listen,
that.
we need to have this conversation, Jamster. They see themselves as God in colonialism. They have created a God or a man who acts as God. We are looking at a group of people who have appropriated a way. What gave them that right to impose their way on other race of people? This is the system that we are in today, Jamster. And that is why they can stab us in our backs. They can create global warming. They can create climate change and all of that. And impose their system on underdeveloped countries. Are you following the pattern?
Let me ask you.
Gave them that right.
Let me ask you a practical question, though.
Yeah.
That goes to the crux of the argument, the discussion we're having. If we're next on the list, what do you, in your opinion, what do you think we should be doing to diversify our economy?
Answer.
Yeah.
I have said since the inception of the war, we globally, Africans globally, we should be spectators in this. Now we see how they're dragging South Africa into this with Putin going to South Africa next month. Now we know that Putin won't be going there, but let us look at us.
No, he said he's going.
Well,
They told him not to come, but he said he's going.
Let me just throw a spanner in the works there.
Let me finish. Let me finish. I don't want my credit
The
to run
UK
out.
has also placed this restriction on the US.
Okay,
Hello?
Journey, go ahead. Go ahead, Journey.
Okay. Now, Jamster, to the question you asked, that's to us. Here are we, Jamster, in the 6th region here in the Caribbean, in the diaspora. We need to refocus and re-educate ourselves. Jamster, all that is geared towards us, we have no weapon. You know what is our weapons, Jamster, guys? Our weapon is knowledge. Knowledge is our weapon. Because once we are educated and know who we are and our purpose here, we would defeat this misery.
Journey. Okay,
Yeah.
so because we have to do other callers, to the point, what you think would be as
A way
Jamster
forward
said,
for us?
Practical alternative.
Yeah, practical.
Okay.
Yes.
our way forward is to link up with our continent. It has everything that we need to survive.
Okay, and link up and do what?
Well, we can invest. We listen. The bridge has to be to begin both ways.
But invest
Those
in
on
what?
the continent and we here.
Invest in what? Because, I mean,
And,
sorry to be very
Mr.
direct,
Gumbs,
but
everything is there. Whatever you choose, mining, minerals, gold, diamond, everything is there for us guys.
the reason, because
can
sometimes we
work.
make some
It
blankets,
can-
we make some blanket suggestions without actually connecting as to how are we going to do these things.
Mr. Gumbs, I mentioned it, I think, on this station, that there are institutions on the continent that you can invest in. I'll say it again, raddi.org.
Okay.
That's a reputable institute. Check it out, guys. Just check it out. raddi.org. African Diaspora Initiative.
Okay.
It is a reputable organization, and you don't even have to go on the continent. If you want to invest in any minerals that are illegally being exploited by foreigners today on the continent.
We have another call, so
right.
we're going to have to go.
Thank you,
Okay,
Journey.
caller,
Thank you for
go
your
ahead.
call.
Thank you, Journey.
Caller, go ahead.
Yes, good morning.
Go ahead.
Good morning.
Yes, if you're, I guess you all saw the video with Ralph Gumbs out.
That's
Yeah,
what
we actually
played.
played
And
it.
well, I mean, but actually saw him.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
watching
yeah.
it. I was here watching
He-
it as I
he-
played it. Yeah.
He was gloating.
Yep.
I
Yep.
mean, you know, there
You
was
didn't hear the
smug-
use of the word
sense of
comeuppance?
smugness.
It's the
Yeah.
comeuppance that got me. I was like, okay.
Yeah, you know, the smugness and the gloating and the, you know, the like.
Yeah, but let's not
satisfaction,
not get hung up on that though. I mean,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Well, the thing is, we have to look at that because in the solution, I think it should be an OECS solution. The countries that are involved in the programs should all come together and decide on one common set, just like what they did with the states. I think somebody pointed out one common set of standards and rules. Okay, and that would well, since it's OECS, that would obviously involve St. Vincent. Okay, because trying to do it singly is not going to work because they will keep picking us off one by one, and they don't like the program in the first place,
Yep.
right? And they kept changing the goalposts, and they will continue to do so. So the common approach is probably the only thing that can save us. Yes, the numbers are going to be down and so on, but it's a case of, well, you know, either you do it and and even reduce numbers, or it just disappears.
Let me ask you a
Okay.
question, Ira. This whole thing raises a question of, you know how we always talk about, look what happened in Jamaica with the diplomat and, you know, the little spat that they have there. What's going on in Africa with the Americans bullying them about the gay stuff and all that. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to make these people respect us? I mean, give us this sovereign respect that we.
But when you say these people, be specific, because like I was trying to tell you when Journey was on, the UK has also passed those new requirements for the US as well. So
Yeah, but that doesn't
Americans
mean-
wanting
but
to
all these
travel
things
to
could be right.
Europe.
All these things could be true.
Americans wanting to travel to Europe for during the new summer 2024, they also need to do applications. I mean, it's
Right.
probably not as intense as what they'll put us through,
Well, right.
but it's they still have to make an application and go through a process. So when you say they, are you referring to just the UK in this instance, or you just mean like the bigger countries?
Well, they're meaning all the white people,
But
basically.
you can
Is
say,
it the
oh,
US
I
or
said
the
it.
UK?
I
No,
said it.
jam
I
star.
said it. Sorry.
Jam star.
It has
jam
to be
star.
said.
No, we're
It
not
has
going
to
down
be
the
said.
racial
I'm
lines.
not going on the
today.
racial line.
Not
But
today.
we're speaking about
Well,
CBI and
I'm
big
I'm
countries.
trying to put my
I
finger.
want you to be
I'm
specific.
trying to put my finger on what the common denominator is with all these countries who think that they can tell us what we can and cannot do.
No.
I
It's not a
think
matter
you
of
can.
race.
Okay. I would say.
Is Jamaica telling us what we can and
How
cannot
about
do?
Jamaica doesn't
Just
have
saying,
white
just
people.
saying, just saying the
What
West.
kind of
Let's
ridiculous,
hear
what
what
kind of
Mr.
ridiculous
McMahon is saying
argument is
for
that?
1
Is
second.
that?
No, but you're
These
making-
people are those white people are descendants of colonizers. Don't come with
Okay,
these.
so we'll come
don't
back
come with
to
these
you
Canadish
and your,
arguments. Come on, man.
racist behavior. But can I hear
Let's
what Mr.
not
McMahon is
deal
saying?
with this racial.
Come on, man.
No.
Mr. McMahon, finish.
Yeah.
So Jamaica has white people. So
yes.
that you think you make that makes a sound argument? Seriously? Go ahead.
Oh.
Yeah. The race is a manifestation, I think, of. Jamsa is not totally wrong.
It's
right?
it's but it's
Um,
the generalization.
Generalizations
it's
have a
probably kind of
practical serve a
insensitive.
practical purpose.
Well, it's probably insensitive, but the fact is,
Insensitive?
the-
I like
the-
to use this example.
What
No,
is
wait.
happening,
I like
though?
to no. I like to use this. Y'all talk about insensitive. I'm gonna point you once again to the
Yeah,
Middle
yeah.
Passage and people packed in the hold of ships. That's insensitive.
Don't ever let it go.
Right? That's
Keep
insensitive
living
times a
in the
million.
past. Don't
So people
ever
shouldn't
let
talk.
it go.
So the person.
No,
So you're saying.
But Jamster,
Go ahead,
in
Mr.
the
Man.
real world, you have to deal with the problems in a sensitive way. Otherwise, you would never ever get some kind of
You can't generalize.
compromise or
If people
whatever.
have so much
Everybody's
power,
not the
It
same.
will
if
always
people have
be-
so
it
much
will
power and
always
wealth,
be
and they're so
antagonistic.
insensitive, well, I don't know what to tell them.
People are people, Jamster. People come with different personalities. It's not a matter of being
Everybody's not the
white or black or Chinese or whatever.
Really now.
People have personalities.
yeah,
You deal
so
with people
I
based
would
So
say
on
is it
people.
okay for everybody to say all black people are this way? The way you're
That is not-
generalizing
that-
for
that-
all white
but that-
persons?
but
No,
that's-
it's not.
But that's
I'm
at the
telling
root.
you right now,
That's
it's
at,
not.
that's
Because
at
you
the
and I are
root.
not the
That
same.
is at the root of what is going on.
This is
Because-
How
insane.
do you know that's the
I
root,
think-
Jamster?
No. What
Because I
is
know.
at the root, I think, what is at the root is nationalism. And you can talk that in terms of Western hegemony.
Exactly.
Okay?
So
They
how
have
does that
determined
deal with race?
that they know that right now they are responsible for the world order. They don't want to give up that to anybody, regardless of race, black, Chinese, whatever. They do not want to give up that. Jamster's issue comes of race is because those people,
Those
he
people.
correctly said, those people happen to be white, okay, and ex-colonizers, right? Not the U.S., but certainly the Western powers, okay. They will never ever give up the hegemony without a fight,
think I prefer
and that is
Western powers
why
than
they
those
look at us. They look at us as even though we're just 2 by 4 countries, they look at us as a threat to, because they regard the CBI money as their money, right? We do it in U.S., we do the trade in U.S. dollars and euros or whatever, pounds. And so they consider, how can you have these billions of dollars? I forget what the industry is worth now, but it's certainly in billions. How can you have billions of our dollars, our money, being controlled by these small countries? No, that is how they look at it. It's about hegemony. So
it has nothing to do with fact.
they will always push against us. What I think we have to get back to, right, is, and I'm not saying that the financial services isn't a robust sector to be involved in,
Yeah.
but the traditional productive export-oriented type of things, which gives us real money and real independence, right? Get people to buy our products and services, and they can't make noise against something like that. Okay, and I know it's harder. It's harder than, with all due respect to the lawyers, they raking in money from the CBI and financial services. But the fact is, we had a good industrial sector, and we could have concentrated on making sure we retain that, okay, rather than
that conversation we were having yesterday on Voices.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, it's all about diversification, okay, and finding other ways of making money, keeping our economy afloat, right? That's what I think is going to eventually, we're going to eventually have to go back to.
Right.
We
Well,
could
you won't
also-
get any
we could al-
arguments from me there. I've always thought that diversification, like I think I started off the thing saying you can't put all your eggs in one basket, which is what a lot of us have been doing. You got to find other ways to maximize the profits.
I think the discussion
But,
should be towards diversification. What can we, as small countries, do to ensure that if the CBA is cut off, what can we do to ensure that we manage ourselves?
It's almost more a matter of
Yeah.
when.
Right, and remember too, St. Vincent doesn't have one, but St. Vincent has been having growth and so on alongside those countries in the other countries in the OACS that have it. So it isn't impossible to do. Might be harder, but it isn't impossible. And the other thing that we have to do, we tend to be too self-congratulatory when it comes to when it comes to what we're doing. We had this jingoistic thing that we're number one in this and et cetera. Well, just yesterday, an acquaintance made a point that apparently went to Barbados, and the service there throughout was excellent, world class.
Yeah, they do that well.
We do not have that here by a long stretch, okay? And we have to hone that because it's a very competitive area. The
Service where? In the tourism industry, you mean?
It was generally about service, but here in the tourism industry, we're behind.
But I'm
We
thinking
we have hotels and so on that are still to find themselves, to find their way in the country, right? We have everybody complains about the customer service here, right? We're not ready to compete on a level that will ensure that we remain number one. Fortunately, we're beautiful islands, okay? We have a good combination of what tourists generally look for, okay?
You know what I find interesting?
That is what saves our industry.
The customer
You're absolutely
service.
right, but the customer service needs to be boosted.
Yeah, I think that is an open secret here. That customer service needs improvement.
What I find
But
interesting
funny
It's-
that
it's
you
better in
when you say
Nevis
customer service, and when
because
you
of
say
Four
customer
Seasons.
service,
Yeah, because of the
when you
Four
say
Seasons.
customer service, you're not just referring
Not
to,
just in the tourism
I'm-
industry.
No, but
And-
generally
and-
speaking,
I'm talking also because he mentioned even down to the vendor on the street.
did you guys
There's
see that article?
There's a rudeness and a coarseness in our interactions, which nobody likes to touch.
Mr.
Okay, because
McMahon,
it's not
funny.
particularly complimentary, but it is there.
Mr.
And we
McMahon,
need
did
to
you
deal
see
with
that
it. Yes.
article from St. Kitts Nevis Times where somebody gave a review of going through the airport, leaving?
Really?
Going through, leaving St. Kitts and the whole quart-size Ziploc bag issue.
Oh, yes.
Did you see that article?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was reading
yes.
that article last night, and honestly speaking, I can agree with some of the things the person said in the article. I mean, the use of the word draconian was a little bit
You should
overdone.
send it to me.
That was a while ago,
Yeah,
James.
we-
Yeah,
we-
well, I would like to
Yeah.
see.
We have to be more
Interesting.
nimble. At
I think
things
that was
like
last
these,
year.
because remember, we're
think.
competing.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Okay, we have to take a break,
Okay.
and we do have another call. Let me see if I can squeeze in this call
Thank you,
before the
Mr.
break.
McMahon.
Caller, go right ahead. Okay, the person
We
is
lost
gone.
it.
We lost a caller.
Well, just before I go to the break, I just want to say the thing is, I mean, we're not going to get anything to change unless if we just stick our heads in the sand and
I just want
ignore
to tell you, like,
ignore the truth.
on the chat, on the Facebook chat,
Mm-hmm.
you're being accused of making racist remarks, and
I am.
yeah.
Okay.
Just
Jamster, is it
dial
that
it back a
I
little
hope.
bit.
I just hope that when they keep the same energy with the other people
Jamster, let me ask
when
you
they
a
make
question.
racist remarks.
No, see, the problem is, 3 of us are on the air right now,
Mm-hmm.
and 2 of us don't subscribe to racism.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't subscribe to racism either. That's why I make the comments I make.
Wow.
Okay.
I feel
I
like
hope-
something in my coffee
seems
because
odd, right?
this must be a twilight
I
zone.
just hope Jamster,
Is that
you
it's
just
like a
don't-
brain twister for
I
you
just
guys?
hope Jamster, you just don't have a problem when it comes to persons who aren't just like you, because the world is different. It seems like you, the characteristics that you have, if someone is different, I mean,
You're not
No,
open to
you're
embracing it.
No, you're missing.
Is that what you're trying to tell him?
You guys,
Yes.
No, you guys are. I'm not seeing it the way. Let's squeeze in the call before the break.
Okay.
9:00 we have the doc, but call will go right ahead. Okay, let's see. Call will go right ahead.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
I hope this. Let me turn this down.
Jamster.
Go ahead. What did she say? I
She
thought
went
she.
to turn down.
Oh, okay.
Jamster.
Hey,
Hello.
Yes.
hey, go ahead.
Jamster, about this CVI, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we were told that this whole program was revamped, and I think this was prior to 2015, and this was under the former Labor administration. I came out early o'clock, and I said, this thing is not going to work, right? And if Europe wants to destroy us and others, but at the time it was nobody else, but destroy us, they're going to do it through the CVI. Because number one, we are depending heavily on them to do what they call that check and balance on the people, due diligence, whatsoever, right?
Due diligence.
We are depending heavily on them, and with the volume, etc. Now, I was advocating, and I still maintain, for the number of years that we have it running, we have had sufficient money that we could have used to invest in different ways, and we could use that to diversify and so on and get off of the program. Right? Now, what I am going to say again, I have said before, every successive administration within this country is going to depend on CBI or CBI, whatever it is. That has become our export crop. Whether we can diversify or not, I don't know. Whether we are sabotage in that area, I don't know. Whether we are given instructions from outside not to advance any further or without prior indications otherwise, I don't know. But I don't see any diversification coming, and I see us maintaining. And we are going to end in serious trouble with that. The two of you could stay there and ignore Jamster, but I heard you all snickering when you all heard my voice. So I'm not going to go into that with you all today. My final point.
Go into
Jamster,
that.
I think you and your male, what's his name, the Azard? I think you all talk about asking persons about the solutions as to, what ideas they have, whether to counteract or, bring changes and so on. And let me draw your attention. All of us have been to school. And whenever we are given a test or an exam, the main thing that all of us did was to ensure that the next students beside us don't see our answers. If you have an idea, a business idea, the first thing you're told, you do not speak it or talk about it with every and anybody, or you don't put it out there. Now, if we are serious about getting results for us as a people, as a black people, our ideas and our suggestions and our solutions and our remedies have nothing to do with John Public. Maybe that is why you see we don't reach anywhere, because we are not listening, number one. And if we do listen, we are not the only ones who are listening. And so there are others who are also listening to find out what our next step or our next move will be, so that they can always sabotage, contradict, and be a step or steps ahead of us. So sometimes asking for solution on air is not always the best thing. If we are serious, we will find our ways of engaging the citizens or the public.
But let me say this, Carl, before you go. It wasn't Candy or I who really brought up the question about recommendations. That's when Journey was on the phone, and Jamsa was the one who asked specifically, what are your recommendations?
Because
but that's not even the one I want to address, because we are often multitasking. So the snickering comment is what I want to address, because there's not one thing happening when a call comes in or a discussion is happening. I just want to put that out there. We're all adults, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
However, fair enough. However, what I want to leave with you, Candisie, is that you will have to admit that you are not privy to certain information concerning what is happening. You hear Jamsa speak about certain things, he can speak like that because he is privy to information that is put out. We have to understand that we have different interests, right? Not many people are going to be on the same wavelength like us to understand what is happening in this world. Because a lot of people, they fail to understand that the way that they perceive life here on this earth, it is not the way that they have it. And they do
that's
not
true.
want
That's
to
true,
accept.
and that goes for everybody.
And that goes for everyone,
I
because
They don't want to accept what is happening. They are living in denial. No, let's
because
look
yours
at
might
Europe.
not necessarily be the one that everybody embraces.
Everything that Europe does is in terms of supremacy. If they go to have a football game, a match, and it's against persons who look like us, it's all about supremacy. You see the cricket team, you see our air transport, all of this is in terms of supremacy. We don't understand, but the hands behind all of this, why we are failing, is not necessarily us. Sometimes we are just put in front.
I'm happy that you said that everybody has different interests, and some of the things that Jamsta is aware of, I may not be, because that is also true for the things that I am aware of that Jamsta might not be privy to. So it works both ways. It's not just a one-sided thing. Yes, Miss Challenger.
Information is out there.
But
It's out there. What
you see?
Because
you're assuming that because I don't agree with you or Jamsta, I'm not aware. Is that it?
No, but
because I can also assume that because you're not agreeing with me, you are not aware.
Okay, guys.
The way I get it, right? When Jamsta speaks, it's like it's a beat down of what he is saying, as though he's just crazy.
But
No, you're interpreting it incorrectly. No, you're interpreting it incorrectly. When Jamsta speaks and he's going to be putting forward something that might be, racist, then we have to stop him, because the show is not just a show for one set of persons, and it's streamed. That means persons all over the world can tune in the show. So if we think that is something that is going to harm the show and hold back on what we want to put forward, then we're going to stop him.
We are not
You
the
are
one.
the one who
No, no,
always
no, no,
bring
no,
up
no,
this
no.
thing about
No,
this
I
you
am
can-
not gonna ever tolerate any
Okay,
racism on
guys.
the
Okay,
show.
guys. Okay,
Jamsa
guys.
is speaking about something. It
Okay.
doesn't have to be racist. It could be reality.
She doesn't get to decide what she's gonna tolerate. I'm the one that decides that. So let's get that
At the
clear.
end of the day, persons
You
are going
need
to
to
have
stop. You seriously need
Okay,
to
we're
stop.
we are going to take a
Azard
break.
and I are the hosts of the show, and we determine if
And-
it's racist, and
and-
we think that it is,
and
and we
here-
will speak out on it.
And here they go with the hierarchical stuff. Anyway, let's go. Let's go for the
We're
break.
different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
The biggest party in sport is back for 2023. And the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots will need your support at Warner Park. CPL will be bigger, better and louder than ever before. And this year, the Patriots are ready to bounce back and claim the title once again. The games are between the 23rd and 27th of August. Get your tickets now at cplt20.com. Join the party. Experience cricket played louder.
Caribbean numbers come and play. Just one single dollar, that is the way. You can pick one number or two or three. I win up to 20,000, you see. 3 ways to play, 3 draws a day, 3 ways to win. Hear what we say. Caribbean numbers is the easiest game to play.
The new Caribbean numbers
So play today.
at any Caribbean lottery agent island-wide.
So play today.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
The biggest party in sport is back for 2023. And the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots will need your support at Warner Park. CPL will be bigger, better and louder than ever before. And this year, the Patriots are ready to bounce back and claim the title once again. The games are between the 23rd and 27th of August. Get your tickets now at cplt20.com. Join the party. Experience cricket played louder.
Shopping with TDC just got much easier. Here's how. Log on to shoptdcgroup.com. Shop at your convenience at any time, from anywhere, with your smartphone, tablet, or computer. With our safe and secure payment checkout, you choose the option to pick up in-store or have your goods delivered right to your door. It's that easy. Shop tdcgroup.com, your one-stop online store.
Okay, had a little computer issue there. The computer froze on me. Okay, so it's time for weekly dose, and we have Dr. Natalie Osborne ring and ready to go, and she brought her pet fish. I'm just kidding. Go right ahead.
Oh my goodness. Good morning, Dr. Natalie Osborne. How
So
are
what's
you
in the
today?
fishbowl?
I'm doing great.
I'm just playing.
I'm doing great. Good morning, everyone. Good
I wonder
morning
if
to all
everybody
of
can
you.
see. Can they see, Jamsa? Can they see that Dr. Natalie's pet fish?
How are you, Azad?
I'm good. I'm just so you know, my blood is boiling, but I'm happy
That's
here.
pumping.
Yes.
Blood is boiling?
He's riled up. Wow. So tell us, Doc, because everybody wants to know. I don't know if you guys can see, the ones that are streaming, if you can see that the doctor brought a fishbowl here this morning.
Hold it up to the camera.
With a bunch of little slips of paper. So today is going to be an interesting show.
All right.
tell us, Doc.
Okay, good morning. We're going to change it up just a little bit this morning. So I see tons of patients in my office, and these are some of the questions that patients frequently ask.
You know, doctor, we were wondering. Well, we haven't heard about. Usually, you communicate with us, and we said that.
Yes.
So listen, what's going on?
Yeah, we can't even do any research.
And now we have this ball.
So that is right. So those are a bunch of questions that over the time the patients keep asking me different things on surgical areas. And we're going to just randomly pull a couple of questions for the time that the show permits us. And we're going to discuss the questions. And of course, we welcome always the audience input and the listeners' input. So we're excited to get started. So whatever question you pull out, that's the question we've got to speak about. And then we'll do it alternating between Azard and Candisie. And we'll see how it goes.
And you can help me give them the numbers too. Because
perfect.
Would you believe they actually complain that you guys don't give out the numbers enough?
So let's announce the numbers now then. So guys, you can call in. The numbers are 466-0989, 662-0989,
762-0989.
What is going on with him?
The last numbers are 0989.
Right. So 466, 662 or 762, and they all end in 0989. All right. So I'm totally excited. Can I go ahead?
Okay, go right ahead and take your first pick. All right, and you go right ahead and ask the question so we can see.
What?
Where are you?
What are the symptoms associated with an enlarged prostate? Interesting.
Oh, very good question.
I do like this question, yes.
What are the symptoms associated with an enlarged prostate? So we know that as a man gets older than 40, the prostate starts to enlarge.
Okay, 6
all
more
right?
years.
Naturally over time. So the male will start complaining. I remember hearing males say that they were able to shoot their urine out so strongly they could roll soda can up the hill or something like that. I've heard stories like that. That's because of the force and the strength of the urine that is being expelled at that time. But as you get older,
I didn't see that being a problem.
I know, right? You would realize that this force of the urine would decrease over time because what? The prostate sits right under the bladder. And as the prostate enlarges, it occludes or blocks off the tube that helps the urine to exit from the body. So what are some of the symptoms that the patient would complain of? So they'll say weak stream. The flow is not as strong as it used to go. They would say sometimes, Doc, I have the urge to go and I need to go quickly or I feel like I'm going to wet myself. Even sometimes when they go, they say they sometimes will have to wait a while before the urine starts. Like, have you ever gone to a ball game or some kind of game and you go into the stall in the restroom, a male, to the urinal with another male, and you're younger and more vibrant, and the older male stays a while before he can urinate, and you get in and out. So all these are signs. Sometimes you can also have blood in the urine. The males often would complain that they wake up often at nights to urinate, more than the regular. So they say, Doc, I'm getting up now 3-4 times in the night to urinate. I never used to do that. I used to just get up once or I would have slept through the entire night. And so they urinate more frequently as well. And even sometimes, they may not know it, but over time, because the prostate enlarges so much, they get chronic urinary retention, and sometimes they're just dripping urine drip by drip. And that can lead to recurrent infection in the urinary system, and they'll have low abdominal pain. Even it can go as far as they have complete obstruction there, and then they end up in the hospital because they're unable to pass any urine at all. And we don't want it to get to that point, because if the urine is not coming out, the repercussion is bad. It's going to affect the kidneys going back and stuff. So that is what you don't want. So that would be my answer to that question.
Wow.
Azard, go right ahead and take a question. Shake the bowl up. Make sure you're being honest.
Not you in a whole pageant doing an interview section.
Okay, can I
like get the question?
It's not that
He
serious.
can't even see the questions, you know.
Powerball.
Right? Powerball.
Okay. I am about to read my question.
God.
Oh, you're very
I have
dramatic
to.
this morning.
Wait, let me see.
No, I think it's just one. It's one. Open the paper, Azard.
It's just one.
Let's go.
What am I going to do with you?
Read your question.
When should someone see a surgeon for a hernia?
When would someone say, okay, a surgeon for hernia? Okay, excellent question there. Patients often ask that because then they start asking me constantly things about hernia being ripe. But there's some abdominal hernias that I think we would have mentioned before on the wall of the tummy. So you have the umbilical hernia, you have the hernia down by the groin there, the inguinal hernia, and there's one just a little bit below that's called the femoral hernia. You can also have a hernia after you would have had a surgery, and we call that an incisional hernia. So we know that a hernia is a bulge that produces over time or when there's an opening or a defect there. So what happened? When should you see a doctor? For example, if you have an infant who has a hernia, studies have proven over the years that the hernia would close usually by the age of 4 to 5. So if you have a baby, a newborn, a 2-year-old, you do not have to rush to have an umbilical hernia repair because that hernia can close down over time. Right. But by the time they get to 4, 5, 6, and it hasn't closed, then that may become a problem. Then if they start complaining of symptoms, having symptoms, then you need to get that sorted out. If you see that they're complaining, they were fine at first, the bulge would go in and out, but then now the bulge is out and it's stuck out, that is what we call incarcerated, and that becomes a surgical urgency. As compared to the inguinal hernia has no track record of closing down on its own. So if an infant is born with a newborn has an inguinal hernia, that's a hernia there by the groin region, then you know that needs to be repaired. Almost in a sense of urgency. But you may not want to do it because it's a newborn. You want the infant, the new baby, to develop a bit. So sometimes you may wait until the child gets to a year, 6 months, if that is.
And they won't be in pain in that time?
But if there is any complication, you may have to do that immediately. So the difference between an umbilical hernia and an inguinal hernia, the inguinal hernia has no chance of closing on its own. So that is going to definitely need surgery. Mm-hmm. And we have seen, and we've spoken about this before, we've seen older men have this large hernia there. Sometimes we would have called it back in the day like a bomb and coup over time because they have not had it repaired because that will never close on its own. Right. Mm-hmm. And if you have a hernia after you would have had a surgery, you start seeing a bulge or swelling, that would never close back on its own. So that would definitely need to be seen by a surgeon so that you can address it and then plan for repair. Okay?
Right,
so those are the indications.
And it makes me wonder when you say, like, you see older men with it, like, do they know that they had the option? Like the option is always there to go get it repaired?
So oftentimes our people are scared, especially our men, to seek medical attention. So they delay and they try accepting it. Yes. They wear bigger clothes. Sometimes I've seen patients wearing 2 and 3 underwear also to give extra support. And they wear larger pants so that you try to make it not as obvious.
Oh no. Wow.
Well, go ahead.
Close your eyes.
Come on, Azard.
I'll look away. You're a mess. All right. This is a good one. Mm-hmm. What are the signs of a urinary tract infection, a UTI?
Okay. Good question. We see people all the time with urinary tract infection. It's one of the most common thing there. What, first of all, is a urinary tract infection? Anything that affects the urinary system. So we've got the bladder there, we have the kidney, and we have those tubes that connect the kidney, from the kidney to the bladder. Those are called the ureters. It's like the pipes that takes the urine from the kidney down into the bladder and then is expelled. So if there's any inflammation in any of these major systems, okay, and also the tube that takes it from the bladder to the outside, if any inflammation occurs there or any infectious process, that gives you a urinary tract infection. So what are some of the symptoms? It will depend on the focus or the area that is having. So if it is with the bladder, there's irritation there, low abdominal pain. You want to urinate frequently, and when you urinate, sometimes it burns and it hurts after you urinate. If it's associated with an infection in the kidney, we call that pyelonephritis, but it's an infection in the kidney. You will have pain in the back, okay? You may have fever, you may have chills, all of these things associated with that, okay? And you may have pain going down to the side of your belly or the side of your tummy, and those are some. You may have your urine coming out really cloudy, foul smelling. You may have
all of this is from a UTI?
Yes. You may have your urine coming out with some blood. You may see blood in it. drops of blood coming out in the urine, that's because the walls are irritated. The lining is very irritated. And the patient could then, if it progresses and there's not an early treatment, they could have fever. It could go on to become very septic.
Like, how do you get a UTI?
How do you get a UTI? Usually in females, because of hygiene, we know that the urethra, the tube, is very short. We encourage our females to wipe from front to back because you don't want, the anus is very close to the vagina there, and you don't want to have any cross-contamination like that, okay? Some persons have recurrent urinary tract infection. Anytime there is any, you may have had any kind of procedure done. If you might have gotten a procedure, you may have a catheter placed into your bladder. That could increase your risk of having a urinary tract infection as well too.
Is it time for the callers to pull from the ball?
Yeah, if somebody has a question, we could hear a question before we continue. Go ahead.
Okay, that person. We had 2 calls, but hopefully someone will call back.
I was gonna ask if it's like, can you get it from holding in your urine, like really
Yes,
long?
I was about to ask that actually, because I was being told that.
Remember we spoke about if you're chronically obstructed because the prostate is enlarged, that can give you that urinary tract infection as well, to hold in your urine for too long. The urine settles there, and once it settles there, it can become infected secondarily as well.
But let me ask you, urine is supposed to be sterile, right?
Yes, urine is.
So then what causes if you hold it?
Bacteria can get from the outside and track upwards into the system that we spoke about, from the urethra, get into the bladder and create havoc. That's why we talk about proper hygiene, especially for a woman, because their urethra, their tube is much shorter. So we often see that.
Because we all have these periods where you're just in a situation you just
go.
have to hold.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, let's hope someone calls.
Go ahead, Azard.
Yeah, go ahead.
He already pulled his question. He was not playing.
Okay, let's.
So we have
2
a call?
calls. Yeah, we have 2.
So
let's see.
let's see.
Go ahead, caller. Weekly dose.
Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Henry. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. Good morning, cousin.
Good morning.
You see, I look at family, you know. I could get free medical attention when I'm ready.
Oh, that's what's happening.
No,
go right ahead
when
with your
I was
question.
Younger, even when I was a certain age, and children had hernia, when the navel enlarged,
yes,
they would put a copper penny on it and band it down.
Yes.
And that
I
they
remember
said
that.
would cause it to go down.
Here's what about that. Go ahead.
I'm going to hang up. And is it effective?
Okay.
Is that
Can it still be used?
Okay, thank you for your question. Very good question. I myself remember that because one of my sisters had an umbilical hernia, and over time that closed down. So what the theory was back in the day, once they put the penny on it and they band it down, but the idea made sense in somewhat because you would push the content that was coming through the opening back in, and then they would leave it over time and keep replacing it. But naturally, we said that the umbilical hernia can close down over time because it gets smaller. So that is what was happening.
So the copper had nothing to do with it?
The copper itself had nothing to do with it. The body itself was narrowing the opening or the defect that we had. Okay?
So is that similar to this thing called NARA? Because I know...
What's that?
Like,
I'm not aware of what that is.
So, like, you know, as a kid, like your grandparents or whoever would tell you, like, don't jump from high areas or don't jump out of trees or that type of stuff. And then you go and you jump and then you start having like a belly pain. I know in Guyana and Trinidad they call it NARA, but I think that's how they got rid of it as well.
She asked you about this before. I remember.
I am not aware of this. I've never heard that word before.
Now.
But if jumping from a tree doesn't produce a hernia, if you have a hernia, when you jump from the tree, you can increase the pressure in your tummy, and that causes it to bulge out and create that pain. Do you have the other question? Let's get the other caller.
So, caller, go right ahead. Stick your hand in the bowl.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Candisie and the DJ. My question is, good topic, very good topic, and I hope the young men in Sinkits is listening. Why is it when young men start to get affected with prostate, they don't want to go doctor? And another one I want to say to you, why half the men them just be trying to get into other young men and older guys that They want nobody shove the finger in the bum. When they bust off the mother wound, the doctor, Sebastian used to shove the finger in the bum, you know. Dr. Sebastian used to shove the finger in all of them guys who born in the 50s and 60s in Jane, France.
Okay, thank you for your call.
Very good topic, and I want you to come back with it. Because a lot of these young men, they're going to rat out. The prostate going to ratting them out. If they don't understand what I'm to go and live with all them man who got money, it's prostate. Have a good day. Good topic.
Okay, very animated, our caller.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Is there any particular reason why... Well, it's probably... I mean, any particular reason why maybe a lot of those people that he mentioned, let's face it, that a lot of them died from prostate cancer. Is it?
Lots of men.
Yeah, it had been reported.
Yes, prostate cancer is a very common cancer in male, and it is said that if a man lives long enough, well into his 70s and 80s, he would eventually develop some form of prostate cancer. Wow. So it is very common in male, but males often are very fearful and they think that they're tough, their masculinity will prevent them from seeking medical attention, often delaying that too, because in their mind they think that they feel they're weak and they're frail if they have symptoms of something and they go and seek medical attention. So that is why we're here educating, so our males can go and speak to their physicians at all times, express what their complaints are. But that is one of the problems. Lots of men do have prostate cancers. He mentioned some persons who are quite well known in the community, but we've got persons who are not known, who are not popular in any way, and they develop a prostate cancer. It's actually the most common cancer itself in males.
Wow.
Okay?
Yeah.
Go ahead with the next question, Azard.
So I pulled the question and asked, what is an anal fissure and what are the symptoms?
Oh, I've been seeing quite a few patients with anal fissure. What is an anal fissure? So you know that the anus there, or the end there at the bottom where the stool comes out. What happens there, you can get a tear in that. Because if that area, when you stool, if that stool is hard, and it's large and thick, sometimes when you're defecated, remember that is a muscle, so that muscle has to relax. And some persons naturally have a tighter, it's called an anal sphincter, tighter muscle there, and that when it relaxes, it's like it's tearing along the pad. You can have a fissure develop there. Persons who are chronically constipated, they can do that because all the pressure when you're forcing and you're straining there. Even diarrhea, chronic diarrhea too, because sometimes if you're having a lot of diarrhea, the content that is in the fecal matter there can irritate the skin, create cracks and stuff that are there. So it usually comes with persons who have a diet that is poor in fiber and high in fats, and these persons don't go to the bathroom regularly. So then they're forcing when they're doing that. So it usually happens there. So what are some of the symptoms? You have the pain when you go to defecate. You have when you wipe, sometimes you may see some blood there. You may have that itching and discomfort sensation there. And you may even feel like a little, because it's usually associated with what we call like a little piece of skin or skin tag. Those are the most common. And it
You
can
can
be
get skin tags there?
Yes,
Oh, good
it can
grief.
be very, very excruciating, the pain. I have seen patients come to me, they're even fearful of defecating so that they would not have that pain. All right, so that is what an anal fissure is and some of the symptoms. So you'll have that, and you may often confuse it with having like a hemorrhoid. But with the hemorrhoid, you feel like a bulge, but there is no bulge there. It's just that there is a tear. And so when you see your physician would examine the anal area and would look and observe if there is a tear there. And then
of course.
Okay, we have two calls.
Go ahead with our calls.
Weekly dose. Caller, go right ahead. Stick your hand in the bowl.
Yes. Good day. I was wondering about blood pressure readings. What's the standard now? I know we get in trouble with talking about race this morning, but is it a fact that the vascular systems of depends on race? And therefore, the tolerance levels for things like blood pressure are different. What's currently the standard or the acceptable standards for high blood pressure, hypertension, and those things. You know, what is the range, the allowable range, so to speak? That's the question.
Okay, thank you for your question, caller. So the first you must
Okay,
understand.
you want to take another call?
Go
And
ahead,
take
go ahead.
two
Go
questions and then you can. Caller, go right ahead.
Yes, doctor. What is the probability of men having it when they have sex with men? That's the question.
Having what?
The anal fissure.
Okay, thank you. So men, anyone, and we're not just speaking about men having sex with men, but anyone who has anal sex too, that is a risk factor for developing anal fissure. Of course, you're introducing people who often may use sex toys as well. You're introducing any object into the anus. What happens is that the muscle that is there, it stretches, and then you can have that tear break. So yes, if you have anal penetration, you can develop a fissure. So to the gentleman who asks about the high blood pressure, the standard or the gold standard original for high normal blood pressure, we first have to understand that 120 over 80 millimeters per mercury, okay? And over time, usually as we get older, all studies have shown that the black race is plagued more or develop more high blood pressure and diseases associated with high blood pressure, and also complications related to high blood pressure. So as you get older, naturally your blood pressures would increase, and there's some values that you want to look at where they speak about pre-hypertensive, like I think around 139 over 89. There are charts for these numbers, okay? So I may not remember all the precise numbers at this time. So you start in the range of pre-hypertensive, and then once the blood pressure continues to go up, then you're diagnosed, if you're diagnosed with a high blood pressure, because sometimes even if you have one reading, and your reading, for example, is 180 over 100, your doctor at that time can make that diagnosis of hypertension with one reading, because that reading is extremely high at that point.
If 120 is the base.
Yes. So then that is where your doctor would then start you on treatment. If you're pre-hypertensive, you want to make some dietary change. You may not necessarily need to be on high blood pressure meds at that point. Exercise, lose some weight, that would also help. Because what does exercise do? It relaxes the blood vessels and reduces the blood pressure.
So it doesn't fluctuate throughout the day?
Yes,
I
your
mean,
blood pressure can.
Even if your heart rate is at basically
your blood
baseline?
pressure can fluctuate. If you're active, you're running, you're stressed, you're excited, your blood pressure can vary throughout the day. If you've had a meal or you've had a snack, extra salt in your system, that could increase your blood pressure throughout the day. So these are variations that happen.
Wow.
All right.
And more calls?
Weekly dose. We have one more. I'll take one more. Oops. Caller, go right ahead. Weekly dose.
Yeah, hello, good morning, everyone there.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm good, the great doctor. Now, I have a question and a comment. Now, when a man has a bum and co, it is visible from a great distance because it is on the external part of his body. But do women get bum and co? Because women do not have any external organs. So that's the question. But then now, let me go to the prostate check with the doctor. I remember I went to a doctor some time ago before I go back up to do my checking in America. And everything was okay. When he come down to the prostate check, I said, Doc, I don't like nobody go behind here. And me and he were laughing. And he said, man, it's just a second. I said, Doc, yes, but that's an exit, not an entry. And he said, okay. We look here. Just do, boop, and he done. I said, when I make up my mind, I'll come back. So I went back the next day. And he said, okay, you're lucky, he's all right. But then when I come out the room, I leave two old ladies out in the room, sitting down waiting to go in. And then when I go out, a young man out there abusing me, telling me, boy, just come out of the place. You ain't giving the doctor all that trouble, and that is what I wanted with a prostate check. So I don't know how come some people to go behind there and interfere with you. So that's the reason why the caller said a lot of young men don't go to check. Because like you say, the muscles there, how we go? When anything enforced in there, it's like it gives them an unpleasant feeling. So please answer the first question.
Thank you for your call. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Remember, this is a medical show and an educational show. We've got to keep it as clean as possible as well, too, because we may have young people listening to us. What was his question in essence? He spoke about
women can get...
No, women cannot, because women don't have the scrotum there that can continue the pathway of the tract. So women can have hernias, and the hernias can over time grow a little bit, but you're never going to have that type of size like in
so
a male.
Inguinal
yes,
or
yes, yeah. As the hernia gets larger, the content from inside the tummy tracks downward into the scrotum side. Remember, we said as well that the origin of the testicle, they start in the abdomen and they follow that track. So then once the content start pushing down, it may be intestines and stuff, over time it gets down into that, following that same pathway, and it makes the scrotum become larger and larger over time. Women would not have that. Do we have time for one more question from the bowl? Let's go with the bowl. Because we got to make sure we inform and educate. Yeah.
I think we did that one. Is it?
I hope it's not a repeat. Well,
it
you could
was.
Yeah.
It was actually the symptoms of an anal fissure.
Oh, the symptoms. Oh, we mentioned those. Yeah. Oh, this girl is taking the questions as she desired. That's not fair.
We did that one too.
Oh, we had it on. Oh, so they're multiple.
Yeah. No, I guess they're different segments, but when I spoke about one, I kind of mentioned something else. Yeah.
So this one says, how is an anal fissure treated? And to be honest, I kind of wondered.
You kind of wanted to
have
ask?
to do like a sew-in, or is it just like an ointment? Like what
so
happens?
anal fissure, if you do develop an anal fissure, they're usually in surgery. It's not always to go and do surgery. You can have medical treatment in the surgical field as well. Okay. So for those patients, we want to make sure that they increase their fiber in their diet, making sure the stool is softer, because you don't want them straining and being constipated. So high fiber diet would be part of it. Water, you want to make sure they develop a regular bowel habit. Watch their diet, what they eat. There also treatment we can put down there, some lidocaine gel to decrease the pain. You have some different medication like nitroglycerin. It increase the blood flow down there and help the healing of the fissure that's there. And if the medical treatment does not work, then you may have to do surgery where you go in and you close the tear that is there.
Okay, quick question just for general information for the listeners. Foods that provide prostate support.
Food that support prostate support. There was something that selenium. They always say tomatoes. Anything with tomatoes that help. I don't know if you know it. Yes, anything with lycopene that's help with the prostate support as well too.
Okay.
Yeah, are we done?
I think so. It has been an interesting one. I actually like this because I feel like we get to cover more topics, and then of course
a variety of topics.
Yeah.
Well, we can save the question, but that's my bowl.
But you can.
Doctor's like, I'm going with my bowl. Don't even try it.
The questions for another segment.
But here's what you can do. You can mix in the questions with maybe a half a bag of Hershey's Kisses.
Not you trying to slip in chocolates.
So thank you once again for calling in and for supporting the show, and thank you Azard and Candisie for always being such good support.
No problem.
With
That's
good
what
energy
we're here for.
and excellent
Thank
energy.
you.
So have a great day, people.
Thank you so much, Doc. It's always a pleasure. Have a good one today.
Take a short break and get back to you guys.
Okay.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
So who you left the kids with tonight? Nobody. They're big enough to take care of themselves. Girl, you're mad? Junior only 7 years old. And suppose something happened to the baby while you're out here? My mother was leaving me home by myself since I'm 5. He can handle it. Nothing gonna happen. This don't feel right. Call and check on them. Look, I work hard all week. I deserve this break. Besides, they're good. Hello?
Sandra, girl, there's been a fire. You need to come now. Leaving underage children at home by themselves is child neglect. Need support? See if another family member or a trusted neighbor can help. This message brought to you by UNICEF, UK Aid, Crime Stoppers, and this station.
Hey kids, drink healthy! Reduce sugar chubby with the same great taste. Lots of magic fruity flavors, drink the more healthy way.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Be active, be healthy, drink lots of chubby. Kicking football, playing cricket, having fun in the sun.
It's chubby.
Reduced sugar chubby keeps you cool and refreshed.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Jumping rope, running races, have fun.
It tastes so yummy, chubby.
Drink the more healthy way.
Fruta, fruta full of vitamin thing. Real fruit juice, not full of vitamin. Pop open the goodness, just dive in. Fruta every night, fruta every morning.
It's the amazing taste and quality in fruit juice you've come to know and love. Anytime, anywhere, any occasion. Fruta is your tastier, better, healthier choice.
We got the vibes, fruta. Real, real nice, fruta.
And for the families, remember to pick up the 1 liter.
Let me see.
Well, it's 9:36, and we've got Marcia from Creative Economy. She's even wearing a Creative Economy T-shirt. How nice! And of course, they've got big plans for St. Kitts Nevis on the cultural and the other creative economy umbrella portfolio. So we are here.
Good morning, Marcia. How are you today?
Good morning, Candisie. I am well. I am very well.
So I know I did joke about you having a regular seat here, and it has come to pass.
You did.
Yes. And I was there chatting her, and she wasn't even here.
But chat me again, so I could hear.
No, I was saying you had on your T-shirt, and it looked
Yes.
nice and stuff.
Do you like it?
Yeah. See,
Did you see the
chatting
dance
isn't always bad, you know. It's could be
Did,
good.
did you see her dance poses just now when we were taking photos?
Yeah, I saw some. Yeah.
This the T-shirt, like you're just bringing out
You
a
have to
whole
live the
different
life.
thing.
People, Jamster people only chat people who are important.
Yes.
Love
True.
it.
True.
Just saying.
You're probably getting chat right now then. So tell us why you're visiting us today.
Well, good morning, world. I'm back again at this fabulous studio. I am here to publicly announce the 2 main events that the Creative Economy is having this week. On Wednesday, we're going to be in Azard's City, Allwood.
Yes.
So we have an outreach
Azard
program.
Birthplace of superstars.
Oh,
I was going
there
to
you
say
go,
I was
there
going
you
to say
go.
champions, but that's the
Candice,
high
you
school
need to
took
move.
that.
Hello.
You
We'll be
better,
already.
yeah.
We'll be already.
Listen.
So on Wednesday, we have what we call We Village That. That's a community outreach that the Department of Creative Economy has been doing. The last one, we were in McKnight about 2 months ago. We celebrate villagers, community heroes, persons who are sometimes not recognized, forgotten, swept under, overlooked. And so there are 3 individuals from the Old Road community who we want to honor and acknowledge. And it's no surprise that I can give you the names. There's Mr. World, because he has been very, instrumental in, Carnival, the promotion of our music industry. And he has been forever a long-standing musician. And so we really want to give him his due. And there is a young man by the name of Gerard, a great footballer. He's on the national team as well. Has been playing football for quite some time, and he too, because young people are doing things. They're not just into violence and vandalism. There are really some positive youths out there, and we want to big them up. And there is a lady, Miss Watson. Everybody knows Miss Watson's shop.
Yeah.
Sadly, this is a posthumous award,
Oh, no.
and so we
She
want
passed,
to, in this outreach, be able to give people their flowers while they are alive. But we still want to honor her for her contribution into entrepreneurship, service, community service, because she has done extremely well for the community of Oldwood. So there's a little concert outdoor on Wednesday of this week.
Nice.
At 5 p.m. and it's very short, so you just come straight from work and you can enjoy in the outdoors right by the post office in Oldwood. So inviting all the persons from the Oldwood community for Child's Challengers, just come on over. If you live Sunny Point and you're driving down, just park up and just take in some of the entertainment we'll be having there on Wednesday. That's We Village that, because we really want to big up people in
Okay, so
the
I have a
Old
question.
Road.
What did Miss Watson do? Because, like, I know Mr.
I want
World.
Azard to answer that
Well,
for
Miss
him.
Watson
the
has
cake
Miss
shop?
Watson. No, there's a shop. Well, a Lovers Bar. There's a green shop called Lovers Bar where you have the tree that has the famous bottles. I don't know if you
Yes,
remember.
yes, okay.
So Miss Watson's on the opposite side.
Oh.
And she's been there like a mom and pop shop.
So it's like next to the Chinese? Because I know there's the
No.
tree with the bottles, and
The
then there's like where some guys hang out.
Yeah.
And there's like a little shop
Yeah,
there.
the
So it's a
close,
shop
yeah,
there.
close to the Chinese, the new Chinese.
Uh-huh.
So she was like a mom and pop shop.
Oh.
So for years, I remember going there and getting you little, whatever you needed from the community.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So she's
Because
been
I'm
there
not
for
from Old Road,
years.
so I'm like, what did Miss
Yeah.
Watson do?
For years she's been there. She passed.
And a shop like that will definitely hold the community together.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
can always run in, and
We
she
had-
works with you.
We had several of them. We had Miss Brager as well, just closer to me. Miss Watson was on perhaps a 5-minute walk, and so you had to pass from me. You go to Miss Brager, then you had the Shaka, and then you had Totes, and then afterwards you could remember the
I
shops as you go.
absolutely love this. So you guys are going into the community and just looking for persons who would have been pillars or who would have,
Right.
embodied that community spirit and that
Yes.
type of thing. And
Because
awarding them.
before we had these big supermarkets, and I'm not bashing any, because development, but we had these people who were, as you said, pillars in the community. They really, and it wasn't just running over to buy a milk and a pound of and flour. You just they were disciplinarian, they were guides for our children. Our whole upbringing as a people was carried by the shoulders of these shopkeepers,
And
because they looked
oftentimes
out.
there will have been persons in the community, and we hear the stories often that you couldn't maybe afford certain things, and
Right.
you had the trust system.
Yes.
You did that
I thought
person
about that exactly.
would,
Yes.
Yes.
credit person, so it had that as well.
And that kept us together as a people.
You're going, Mommy said if I could get some sugar
Yeah.
until end
in
of the
these
week or
small shops,
whatever.
everybody know each other, yeah? So they ask you how your mom is doing, how is everything doing, and stuff like
Yes.
that. You had that community.
I miss that.
Yeah.
I miss that.
Yeah.
So that's We Village that. That's
Yes, I
on
like
Wednesday
that.
at 5 o'clock. So we're encouraging everybody to come on out on Wednesday afternoon on Old Road for We Village that. And then on Friday, this is the biggie. This is why I wear this shirt. The creative economy is launching its official department, and I just want to put in a plug for the Honorable Minister Samal and my boss, Ms. Robertine Webb. Our office have been working, assiduously, sleepless nights to get this off, and it has been postponed somewhat, but we are ready, and our department, as we know it, formerly Department of Culture, has been restructured, and so we want everybody to come on out. This Friday is going to be a tremendous event. We're going to start in the morning with an expo. The expo now allows for craft vendors, if you're selling snow cone, different people locally
Where
to
you
come
said
and
this is going to be
sell.
at?
It's going to be at Port Zante at the
Yes.
taxi stand, just
Right, I
right
did
behind
see that ad.
there by First Class. So we are appealing to a lot of persons have registered, but we have a few more slots left to secure a booth. You can come and set up and sell at the taxi stand on Friday. So the expo begins at 11. And we want to particularly, when the school is off and all of the children are not on camp, so there is a fun zone for the children. They love the mechanical bowl, and we have the face painting by Lucid. We have a lot of things for the children, so we don't want it to feel like, oh, I could leave my child. No, don't leave the child home. It's a whole family experience. Come on out to Port Zante on Friday at 11 and experience the launch of the creative economy. The expo starts at 11, and this ceremony officially begins at 6 p.m. So you come and there is entertainment. We have dancers, we have drummers, we have, our local acts
So we
doing
chilling
their
out there
thing.
for half
the
the
whole
day.
day,
Okay,
yeah. When you finish work, you just come on over there, food stalls, local goat water, and that kind of, weekend food that we love.
Is this not going for me? You long time.
The red peppermint with the condensed milk, you like that one?
That
all of
primary
those.
school
Everything.
days.
The ceremony begins at 6 p.m. officially, and then after the ceremony, we have a nighttime concert that goes right up to at least 10, 11. So if you can't make the expo, come to the ceremony and stay after work. So it's a whole vibes on Friday. We don't want anybody to miss it. Everybody love giveaways. So you see the shirt I'm wearing, there's one for you. You have to come. I didn't bring it here because I want you to come.
Because we were just discussing, like, how come we're on a t-shirt?
Yeah, you have to come on Friday. We have giveaways. We have different paraphernalia and merch that you want to, like, just looking at them in the office, I say, boy.
Session on Friday.
Yeah. It's going to be a whole vibe.
So it's at the back of Port Zante, like in that apron, like behind
not by the arrival hall that
By
the
the museum.
tourists, and by the taxi stand, like over by where First Class Jewelers and
Where
Chocolate
they
Factory.
kind of have that covered area, sort of.
Over where the taxi parks.
So
on
the
the
eastern
eastern
over right
end.
from here when you come out of the sand.
On the eastern end, the far eastern end. So if you drive through by Sands and come around,
Okay,
yeah, that
gotcha.
side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure Jammins is interested in being a part of it.
No, I mean, when I heard the ad, I was intrigued. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I actually got the ad, so I like the picture that you paint. Because when you read the ad, like, you're not really,
Yes.
But you come in with all this bubbly energy, yes, it's definitely gonna help.
Unfortunately, there is, I didn't get to walk with them today. Well, not walk with, but bring them along with me, Lucas and Dejo. There is a Creatives Anthem. I'm not sure if Jamsa has it as yet. I apologize if you don't, but you should.
No, that you mention it. Somebody, I remember
Lucas
one of them
and
may have
Dejo.
sent something.
And Nature we did an anthem, and we want to promote that as well and officially launch it. It's very catchy, it's very jumpy, and our style of music, and so we really want to push this creative industry because it's a very viable career path that it tends to be, overlooked and undershadowed as something on the side, and this is my hobby. And no, there's lots of money, and apart from money, there's a lot of talent out there that needs to be honed, and we just have to push creativity on a whole because we have that in the Caribbean.
I love it.
Definitely. Well, Master, we want to say thank you for coming and sharing what the creative economy has in store for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Thank you very
Always
much.
a pleasure having you here. Your energy is always welcome.
Absolutely.
Well, I
you
always
so
feel
much.
welcome, so thank you.
No
as well.
Awesome. So we'll see you on Friday. It's
Definitely,
a date.
definitely. Don't miss it.
Don't be late.
And make sure you have our t-shirts.
Yes, I will. What size for you? Large?
What sizes you have? Probably
Small, large, medium. You look like a large.
a large. Probably XL, right?
They fit you like a nice muscle shirt.
Okay.
You
Well,
look like muscle.
oh, you like? Master, you like that, huh?
Oh my God.
Yes.
Thank you got your name right today.
I know. You see when he get the name right? Have an awesome day today, Marcia. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having
no
me.
problem.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
I love the energy.
God, he's a mess.
I'm saying, when I get me in that
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
this is your official invitation to the conscious party.
Get conscious, get down to business every Wednesday with Conscious Business. Join the Conscious Musical Reasoning with Selector Highest, Strictly Positive and Conscious Music on Conscious Business on WinFM 98.9, winfm.com. Vibes include Business Education Corner, Business Quote of the Day, Agriculture Time, and Mama Love Chat of the Day.
Mama, I don't ever want to see you cry.
Conscious Business is brought to you by Like New Steam Cleaning. You too can get exposure and awareness for your business when you call WinFM's sales department to advertise here. Conscious Business is positive growth.
And we're back in our final remaining moments. It's 9 minutes until 10 o'clock. What did Marcia said when she was leaving? She said something about jabs or something. What did she say? Huh?
I plead the fifth.
I'm sorry, we have her number. We can give you. You don't have to ask in a
No, he's
smart
my
way.
friend. No, he's my friend. Just playing. That's my wife's dance instructor.
Nice.
And she goes. They have.
I'm just joking with you, Jam. So you don't have to go into the whole explanation.
You know, like we have like 9 minutes.
Yeah, we have some time.
Before we wrap up the show, I just wanted to say to our listeners, our regular listeners, our new listeners, future listeners, our talk show it's not based on one thing. We try to cover a lot of topics and ones that we think are relevant. And I just want persons to be mindful that everyone is entitled to their opinion. So when you call in and you voice an opinion, you may have persons that actually agree with you, but remember, at the end of the day, it is your opinion. So everybody is not going to agree. And that is why you see when we get calls, we just allow persons to express their opinions because we don't think that our opinion is the right one or the only one that exists. So I just want persons to bear that in mind when they call in, because I know this morning it got a little bit heated, but everybody is entitled to their opinion and we allow you to voice it.
And there are some times when persons want you to hear from their opinion, their point of view, and
don't want to listen to
don't
yours.
want to listen to yours. It's like, no, me listening to yours, and I don't think you should share your opinion when they have shared theirs.
That's not the way it works. Not on a talk show, not in life. That's not the way it works. So of course everybody has their own beliefs, and I would have mentioned earlier why every time we would see something that is very controversial, especially where race is concerned, Azard and I try to take the middle path because the show is not just for one set of persons, and it's not just a local show. There are persons from all over the world that go online and stream the show and look at the show.
You have two calls coming.
You have to be cautious that you don't offend persons. It's not about being afraid. It's about being mindful.
Yeah, we have some calls. Let's see.
Caller, go right ahead. Hello.
Yes, I call back.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, go ahead.
How are you?
Yeah, now I will laugh. Madam Hostess, I don't think this is a matter of sharing opinions or anything like that, or accepting or rejecting, right? We have to be realistic. Now, I am not going to speak to you and Mr. Azard because you all have just become the host a couple of weeks ago. But before both of you, let me say this, before both of you are, I am. Win FM didn't just start when you all became the host of and hostess of this show, right? It has been around. Whether you want to accept what I am about to say is up to you. But this is not an opinion. This is a statement of fact, and you can go as far as I will go as far as say it's the truth. There have been times in the past years when there have been a lot of things being said that are negative and derogatory about black people and their concerns. And this same station, I have never heard anybody jump up in arms and said that it is racist and it is this and it is that. I have never heard anybody say this is streamlined or wherever across the world or wherever, and this should not be said. You hear what I'm saying? But as soon as somebody is going to say something that show black people in a good light, the first thing you hear, oh, it's racist.
But Carla,
Never mind the reality.
before you go on, Candy, hold on. Before you go on,
Please,
oh yes.
please, let me finish because I don't have much on my thing, right?
No. Before you go, because I don't want to lose the
realize
point.
that Azard and I are black, right?
Wait, before you go, we never said there's anything. We've never criticized any person who shows black people in a positive light.
Why would we?
I don't.
No, listen, Mr. Azard. I never said you all. Listen.
You literally
this is the
just
problem with us, you know. Listen. No, don't just hear to respond. Listen to understand. I never said you all. I said before you all became the host and hostess of this show. Win FM has been around for years. Okay, I never said you all. That's why I made a distinction. But that is what I am saying for this station. All right? Anytime something is being shed in a positive light towards black people, this is it. There used to be, I wonder if they say it was the engineer, I don't know. Oh Lord, he gone.
Hello?
Okay, now before anybody says anything, she started off the sentence saying, I would like to think. That in and of itself says that it is an opinion. If there's no evidence to support what you are presenting, it cannot be seen as a fact. That is one. Two, I will repeat what I said earlier. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, and it does not mean that because you believe it, that it is right. And that goes for everyone, myself included. Go right ahead, Azard.
Okay. So I just want to say that I speak for myself, every time it comes to black excellence or black people, of course, we're here for it. But I have always said, regardless of race, I like to think of people as people. I think that we should look at individuals and what they're doing as individuals. I don't even know where we went into this discussion this morning, because we were just talking about CBI, and I know some comments were made, and we were saying at the point in time that such comments, how is it that we're going to say, how did we get to a matter of race when we're discussing CBI? That is
the comments were contentious.
Yes. And so we have persons with different views. And that's okay. Everyone is not going to share the same opinion. Everyone is not going to think the same way. Persons experience different things. And I mean, their experience, I can't talk about their experience, but I mean, when we share our views and we share our opinions, let us be mindful that, others will share different opinions. And if they do, that we respect the opinions of others. There are going to be some truth, because truth cannot be denied.
And there's going to be controversy, but it's the respect. It's you can't attack someone for their belief or what their opinion is. And that is, for me, that's the sticking point. You know, I don't like the bashing. I mean, we were accused earlier of always bashing and downtrodden Jamster, which is insane because that's not Jamster's personality. So that will never happen here.
Exactly.
That's one. But not because we don't agree means that we can't work together, we can't have an amicable relationship, and we can't put forward our opinions.
Yeah, and just because we disagree with the views that Jamster may express from time to time, don't mean that we are bashing Jamster or think Jamster is a very strong individual. Trust me, he can't. Our opinions ain't doing nothing on Jamster.
Exactly.
So I mean,
they'll behave.
but it's true. So there's like Jamster, no. It's like, oh, you can't vote for me.
You know, it's funny that persons would think that we would not acknowledge Black excellence because, hello, have you seen us? Have you been streaming?
Yes.
But apart from that, one of the reasons why I don't like to subscribe to racism is because I feel like we're going to keep holding on to past hurts. How are we ever going to evolve and progress?
Yes.
Right, I'm never not going to acknowledge that slavery happened. And Jamster mentioned the Middle Passage earlier.
Yeah.
We all are aware of that, and we've all dealt with that in one way or the other. But are we going to continue punishing new generations for what old generations did? Because let's face it, Africans were also involved in the slavery that occurred.
The thing, you know, I like to use that example because I find that the mainstream press and a lot of people, commentators, they like to fetishize, or they like to, let's say, they like to coddle the discomfort felt by certain people, and I'm like, really? That's uncomfortable. So then I like to use that.
That like to brush over it and say like, you bet.
Exactly.
Like recently there was a guy that said, you know, Black persons benefited from slavery, and I kept saying how. Right,
exactly.
So there's some stations that do push that.
Mr. DeSanctimonious,
yes, you know it exactly. That
and
rhetoric,
his Florida nonsense.
But I never want us to be seen in that light. So I prefer to, as Azard said, embrace everyone as humans, as persons, and just take them for who they are, and not attach a stigma to them that has not been shown or exhibited or. So that's just my 2 cents.
Okay.
But it's 10:02. So
yes, I'm throwing you guys out now.
And it's a spin cycle. And if you guys are listening and you are hoping to hear the Barbie
he
song,
played it for us yesterday. Did you hear
played
it?
I heard it. I heard it.
You sure?
I did. I heard it while I drove. I said, "There's Jamster pushing the Barbie song."
And he said for his co-host, for his host on Island. I heard you on IT.
I hear that part too. I heard that part. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
that's your first time hearing hip hop. You ever heard hip hop before?
No. I've heard it, man.
What? Leave Azard alone. We're leaving.
I wonder if he heard any good gospels lately.
Minister Marion Hall.
Or he probably heard about the Kiss Out My Bible one.
His favorite.
Yeah.
As of yesterday.
Oh,
look, you're starting him up.
Yeah.
We're leaving.
What is, yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning into Island Tea today.
Yes.
Okay, see you guys tomorrow.
See you back here tomorrow at 8
Same
until
time.
10.
Yeah.
Spin Cycle Power
Have a blessed
Hours
day,
next.
Yeah.
We're different. We're 98.